If you were wondering what Donte DiVincenzo's role for the New York Knicks was going to be next season, you don't have to wonder much longer. On Media Day, Donte DiVincenzo gave a lot of good points regarding why he chose the New York Knicks and what he believes his role for the Knicks is going to be. And even Tom Thibodeau got in on the action, and he gave comments on what he believes Donte DiVincenzo's role is going to be. We're going to look into that and see exactly what he thinks. We're also going to look into who Tom Thibodeau is going to play at the backup power forward position. That's been the talk all offseason, and now we officially have an answer. We're going to look into this and so much more today, guys. Oh, and by the way, stick around to the end of the video as we have a very special announcement. All of this and so much more today. Let's get started. Donte DiVincenzo's role for the New York Knicks has been revealed. So clearly when Donte was signed, we knew he was going to play a prominent role for the New York Knicks. We just didn't know how prominent, how many minutes, or where he was going to play, what he was going to do for the New York Knicks, and what his primary role was going to be. Well, thanks to the Media Day interview that he did and the questions he was asked at Media Day, we have some insight into what his role is going to be. Roll the clip.
I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, that's not my focus. My focus is to win games, whether I'm starting, coming off the bench, playing 20, playing 40, doesn't matter. My focus is to win games. I signed a 4-year deal here, so I plan to be here long term. And, ultimately I plan to win a lot of games here with these guys, whether the lineup is starting lineup, closing lineup, whatever it is. I trust in Tibbs' decision-making, and, we go from there. That
was very powerful words and a very powerful statement from newest Knick, Donte DiVincenzo. And to be honest, I like what he said. I like what he said. He's here for the long term. He's here because he wants to win games. He also said he trusts in Tom Thibodeau. That tells me that Tom Thibodeau and him has had many conversations already, and before he even was signed, I believe they had a lot of conversations. 20 to 40 minutes is what he said in regards to what he thinks he could play. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what he's going to play, but I would be shocked if he does not play within the average of 20 to 25 minutes. Because it seems like for him, his floor in terms of playing time for the Knicks will be 20 minutes. That also means some of your favorites, Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickley, maybe to an extent, some of the starters may have to play a little bit less to incorporate Donte DiVincenzo into the lineup, because obviously he's going to be used and he's going to be a prominent figure for the New York Knicks. Now, you may be asking yourself, in what way is he going to be used? Maybe he could be the 2 guard coming off the bench. Well, thanks to Tom Thibodeau, we have that information too. Shout out to Chris Persiani for giving us this information on Twitter. Thibodeau said the following on if he thinks DiVincenzo could see time running point guard off the bench. I do. I love the versatility of those guys. Quickley, DiVincenzo. Donte is a great rebounding guard. We'll mix and match. RJ will be with the second unit some. Donte will play with the starters. Tom Thibodeau basically just told everyone that Donte DiVincenzo is a very important player for this New York Knicks team, if you didn't already know that. If he could play a lot of time with the starters, that means he's important. If he's being talked about with the likes of Emmanuel Quickley, who, let me remind you, was runner-up for 6th Man of the Year. If he's talking about mixing and matching with those two, then I gotta say, Donte DiVincenzo is going to be a very important player for this New York Knicks team headed into next season, whether you love the move or you hate the move. He's going to be playing point guard off the bench. That means Emmanuel Quickley might take that 2 guard role, and he might play that 2 off the bench with Donte DiVincenzo. I think Tom Thibodeau will definitely want to experiment with that and see what happens with that. You may be asking yourself, what happens with Quentin Grimes? Well, I think he might play the Josh Hart role a little bit because he might be switched to the 3. He potentially could guard 4s. If you know Tom Thibodeau, if you can defend and you can defend well, he'll try to move you to other spots. He's done that with Josh Hart, but I feel deep down inside that at some point this season, you'll see Quentin Grimes trotted out there at the 3 or the 4 at spot minutes by Tom Thibodeau. I just have that sneaky suspicion. We'll watch and see if that happens, but stay tuned because I really do believe Tom Thibodeau will experiment with that. And I know experimentation and Tom Thibodeau usually doesn't go hand in hand because a lot of times he sticks with what he knows. But we have seen him adjust, especially in the playoffs, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time for him to adjust maybe 15 to 20 games. And then once that happens, maybe he makes an adjustment, and whatever adjustment he makes after that point in time, he usually sticks with it all the way till the end of the season. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he does. But Donte DiVincenzo is a key piece for this New York Knicks team. He's going to be playing point guard for the New York Knicks off the bench most likely. That's going to slot Immanuel Quickley at the shooting guard position coming off of the bench. Now, I'm not saying he will never play point guard again for the Knicks, but it seems like that's the scenario Tom Thibodeau is going to favor. He will mix and match like he said, but again, my opinion, Donte playing point guard off the bench, Immanuel Quickley playing shooting guard off the bench. Absolutely, that seems what the lineup's going to be, according to Tom Thibodeau. Say what you want to say about Donte DiVincenzo and what he does for this New York Knicks team. But in my opinion, the Knicks absolutely needed another shot creator. We needed somebody who can make their own shot from three. Donte DiVincenzo can do all of that, plus more. He can play make. I know the Knicks are a team full of guards. I get that. But out of all the guards you could have, having a guy like Donte DiVincenzo on your squad, a champion like Donte DiVincenzo, a veteran like Donte DiVincenzo, it helps and it matters. And I think it does help the New York Knicks, even if it's just a little bit, because it does give them something that they sorely needed last year that now they have. Another three-point shooter, another shot creator, and of course, another playmaker. But let's also hear from Donte DiVincenzo as he spoke about why he chose the New York Knicks and why he signed with them. Roll the clip.
A couple things. One, first and foremost, I'm 2 hours away from my family, and family's everything to me. So, adding on to that, Nova guys are an extension of my family, Jalen especially, but ultimately, it's, I like to win basketball games, and looking at the layout of where I was potentially going to land, I felt most comfortable coming here. Adding the family aspect and then adding just, what they've done last year, and how I can kind of plug in and, benefit from everybody around me, and to help this team just go further.
Family, Villanova connection, what the Knicks did last year. That tells me, especially that last part, that Donte DiVincenzo sees a little bit of a change within the New York Knicks organization and perhaps sees a little bit of a culture shift happening within the New York Knicks. And obviously that starts and stems from Jalen Brunson and what he's done with this New York Knicks team and everything he's showing this New York Knicks fan base that he can do and who he is, that natural leader. But Donte DiVincenzo saying a lot of this makes a lot of sense. We knew the Villanova connection was going to play a part in him signing here. The family aspect, him being so close to his family, that obviously played a part. But that last part, him saying the New York Knicks and what they've achieved and what they're doing, and him just wanting to come here and help with that, that means a lot. That says a lot. I'm very thankful to hear that. And for me, it definitely rings true that a culture shift, at least within the New York Knicks organization and how they're being perceived in the league, is changing. Even if it's by a little bit, it's still changing. And personally, I really appreciate that. The New York Knicks have revealed their plan for the backup power forward position. Like we didn't know already, we heard all offseason long that the backup power forward position after Obi Toppin was traded away would likely be played by Josh Hart and RJ Barrett, spot minutes of course, while Julius Randle needs a break. Now we have a little bit more of an update on that thanks to Steve Popper. According to Steve Popper of Newsday, Tom Thibodeau stated the following on the backup power forward situation for the New York Knicks. The value of Josh Hart is he can guard 2, 3, and 4, and you're not losing rebounding, gaining playmaking. He also notes that they can go big with Jericho Sims at the 4 also. Jericho Sims at the 4, he is very, very green. He's only played center for the New York Knicks. Personally speaking, I don't want to see Jericho 4 at the Sims. I saw it last year with Isaiah Hartenstein and himself, and I'm not saying it was horrible, but it definitely wasn't something that I wanted to see night in and night out. So I definitely don't want to see that. I think, though, honestly, you're going to see RJ Barrett and primarily Josh Hart play the backup power forward position for the New York Knicks headed into next season when Julius Randle needs a break. Although Julius Randle usually leads the league in minutes, So because of that, they're likely not going to see that many minutes at the backup power forward position anyways. But they're going to be moved out of position. I hate the argument that Tom Thibodeau is stating here. Even though Josh Hart can guard 2, 3, and 4, it doesn't mean that he should. It doesn't mean that he should be playing out of position. And we don't speak about all the opportunities that he misses because he has to guard either taller players or he's guarding out of position. So he's not in the same area to grab those same rebounds. But nobody wants to speak about that. Everybody wants to talk about the fact that he can do these things and he can be a great defender and he can guard these people. It doesn't matter if he can do it. The question should be, should he do these things? And in my opinion, he shouldn't. But what about you guys? Let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you think Josh Hart should not be moved out of position and we should basically have somebody else playing the backup power forward position? Or do you think it's no big deal and Josh Hart should play the backup power forward position? Let me know in the comments because honestly, guys, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this video. If you like this video, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.